open the public hearing for the WHTC application. Can you elaborate what that's about, Bryce, so people know from the audience?
723. Okay. The workforce housing tax credit application is due shortly. This is an application that provides a tax credit for the development of new construction of workforce housing tax credits. So workforce housing, so there is a monetary amount of per unit that it needs to be built for, which qualifies it as workforce housing. It is not low to moderate income in terms of rent restrictions or income restrictions, so anybody can live in these units as they see fit. It doesn't matter what their financial status is or their age. They just have to be able to pay the rent. Workforce housing just means that the units are built affordably, so that in turn the rents are affordable. So this will be the third application that the city has pursued with developers. So the city has to endorse the application. This is a developer-backed application. The city just has to be supportive of the project to be able to be competitive at the state level through these tax credit allocations. It's based on a point system. And so the first workforce housing tax credits were the houses built in the Meyer Edition that have all sold and resold, and they're all filled. People live in them, as well as some other properties around town that were included in that development. The second one is 2 8-plexes on 8th Street and Montgomery that are currently being built and rented out. This application and the developers here with Revitalized Developers, Bob Powers, so you can ask him direct questions if you want. But it would be for another 2 buildings on that same location, 8 units per building. So same development that's there, just 2 more.
Okay, since this is still technically the public hearing, would anyone else like to speak to this? Yep. So every year, HUD comes out with the metrics. So if you have a 1-person household all the way up to a 10-person household, the amount of income that you can make, obviously it goes up a little bit, but I don't know what Wright County is right now in 2024. 23s was probably like 40. 24s, I think is 44,800, I believe. That's just sticking in my head. Okay, so a 1-person, so these are not low to moderate income, just in terms of if you make $44,000, you can rent these spaces. If you make $46,000 a year, you can't. But in the workforce housing tax credits, you're not income restricted. So you can make $1 million a year and still rent these units. In low to moderate income. Yeah. In low to moderate income, it is. Yeah. So like the downtown ones that we were just talking about, those are LMI for 3 years, which means 1 person, if they make less than $44,000 a year, they can rent. And then after the 3 years, the income restriction goes away. So if they make $100,000 a year, they could still rent that location. But with these, because it's a tax credit and it's a different funding mechanism through the state doesn't put rent or income restrictions on the property. And so you can make anything from minimum wage to $1 million a year and rent these locations. The reason they give the tax credit is to buy down the price of the unit so that in turn the price of the rent goes down. If that makes sense. So instead of paying $1,200 a month or more, you'd be in the $850 range. But LMI is 100% based on income per person in the household. So it starts at 44, and then a 4-person household might be 52 or something like that, 52,000 a year. 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom is being proposed.
Is it the single family, 1 family, or multifamily units? Or is it necessary to even say that? you can have 10 people in a family, but if you got two families with 10 people, that's different. We have several homes in Eagle Grove that are multi-family now, but they started out as single family homes. They taking that into consideration.
Are you saying, are they renting them out to multiple families? Like if I have a,
family, but two families end up living there.
right. Yep. So if we do our rental inspections and we wanted to get into that, then HUD says 1.5 persons per household per bedroom can live in the household. So if there's 2 bedroom, then 1.5 persons, you'd have 3 people, 3 or 3 people living in the location.
And now will have to be added.
We, in our rental inspection, we don't really accomplish that. So that's going to be a direction that the council is going to have to provide. Because a lot of times they're not there. People aren't there. So when we do our rental inspections, we might see 6 beds, but that doesn't mean there's 6 people living there. It's a good indicator, but it's also just very difficult. Yeah, cars. Yeah. So it's
That'll run. But
until we have the manpower and the direction, it's kind of hard to implement.
okay, that's
For 2 new buildings.
Correct. Yep. Sorry, I digressed.
yeah. Anything else on the public hearing? We'll close the public hearing then. At 7:29. And move on to item